Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel is mainly based on photo manipulation and editing in Photoshop. I am going to be editing a random image to a cyber effect design in Photoshop in this video. Sit tight as you enjoy the video. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, share and like the video. Thank you as you watch the video. Here we are into the beautiful environment of Photoshop. I immediately marked her out from her background, then converted her to a smart object. I immediately gave her a new background using my solid color, then brought in a robot image to add the cyborg effect on her. I fixed the robot to her face where the areas that I want to add the effect on her, then layer mask the image of the robot, reduce the opacity of the robot, layer mask it and invert the layer mask in order for me to paint the areas that I want to paint on. So using my regular brush, I painted on her. I kept on painting on the areas that I want the effect to be on her. Increase the opacity, then duplicated the robot and fix it on another area that I want her to have the effect on. Inverted the layer mask and painted the areas, but before I painted it, I first used my selection tool to select the area that I want it to be on. I increased the opacity. Then for the eye, I equally duplicated the robot's image and added the eye of the robot on her. Tried to do the same on the other eye, but it didn't actually work the way I wanted it. So I deleted it and used my photo filter to add a color to the eye, which is similar to the other eye, and I like the effects. So I continued to add some of these cyborg effects on her, cyber effects actually. So I explored bringing in more robots to add more effects on her, which was actually working. So I kept using my regular brush to paint on her. All of these images I clip marks on her as I use my regular brush to paint on her. I kept painting the areas that I want the effect to be on her. I kept adjusting it. Kept painting on the area that I want to have the effect on her. And to get this more effectively, when you bring in an image, layer mask it, then invert the layer mask, then you can be able to paint it at any area that you want to paint it on using your regular brush. It's as easy as that. then I kind of am satisfied with what I have here. Then with the exposure tool, I added highlights to the areas that I want the highlights to be on. I added to her eye, to her neck, and with my photo filter added a blue glow on her. Added a blue glow to some areas that needed the blue glow, which I love the effects. With the hue saturation, I added a red effect on her, then converted it to linear dodge. Then kept painting with my photo filter and hue saturation to add effects on her, and also exposure. I added highlights on her. I adjusted on the eye. I tried bringing in a background that might fit with this cyber effect that I want to create. The first background that I brought, this is I don't know what the heck that is, but I believe it is used in, keeping things in the lab. I added a smoke to the background to see whether it will fit. I looked for another background which will fit to the cyber effect that I want to create. At this moment I don't have anything in mind, so I brought in a new background which I kind of like how it looks like. It looks like a lab actually. So with my camera raw, I added effect to the background, then duplicated the object that I brought in to add to the effect. So I duplicated it 3 times. Then now is to adjust on the images that I brought in. Added a smoke effect on the background to bring that vibe that it needs. Work on them and add the light effects that I want to add on them. Then added effect on the objects that I brought in. So I added effects on them using exposure and hue saturation. I colored this one blue and the other orange pinkish color. I don't know what the heck what that color is. So I duplicated it to create that mirror effect on the ground, which I did using my layer mask and inversed it to paint on the areas that I want to paint on. I did that for the both images. So I increased my smoke, then brought in a new background which I added to improve the vibe of the cyber effect. Brought in another image still, which I changed to color dodge. Now like how the environment looks. It looks more like a laboratory, an alien laboratory. So With my hue saturation, I painted the light effect from the left hand side, which is the pinkish red, to the background to bring out that vibe it carries. Then with my exposure, I added some exposure to the light. It is light, fam, so exposure will make it look more realistic. So I added a smoke effect on down parts, adjusted on the color mode. Then after working on the environment, I had to adjust on the cyborg girl. So I painted similar color range on her as I did on the background. I kept on tweaking with my colors to get something that is desirable, that is a little bit realistic. So I added some few glows on her, which I loved so much. See how glowy that is. Wow. So I kept on adding few colors to the cyborg girl to bring out the color mode of the background. It wasn't that easy, but I was trying my best to put in some light effect on her to make it look more like a cyber effect. I placed the light effect on different spots in the background and on her, which I like the results. This look more like it.